Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mason Brown. I'm the guy who sits in this chair and says things. Welcome back. I hope that you have enjoyed your stay. I've seen a couple of videos that I have floating around the channel, more coming soon for sure. I want to go over a few of my favorite things. Now, this one, of course, is about movies, but you can find other videos on the channel, one for favorite YouTubers that I think influence the way that I approach YouTube, and the content that they create inspires me. Another video you can see is my favorite book series that I've read that have left an impression on me and, inspired me to read more and be more interested in story. But for this one, I want to set aside this video specifically for movies. Now, I love movies. I've said it before. I will say it again. I love movies. See, I said it again. Growing up, movies were a big deal. We didn't really have any local TV channels or a cable network or anything. We really couldn't watch all that much, but when we had a movie night, it was a big deal. That was the thing I most looked forward to, was a good movie night with the family. I actually remember fondly, we had a neighbor across the street. We called her Miss Ellen. She had a pretty impressive collection of movies that on special occasions we would get to go over and look through her cabinet of movies. And every time opening it was like a new sense of wonder and adventure, mystery. You never knew what you were going to see. And I imagine we watched through her collection of movies multiple times over the course of our upbringing and childhood. Movies have played a huge part in my life, so much so that I pursued a career in acting because of how movies influenced me. The way that they have affected me, my family, my friends, it's just a shared passion that we have that I hope to share with you. So in today's video, without further ado, I am going to go over a few of my favorite movies, and it was very hard to narrow this down. This is by no means a comprehensive list. There are certainly movies that I would love to have put on the list, but they didn't seem to quite have the impact or the effect on me. And I was actually surprised by how some movies did show up on the list that I didn't expect them to. I imagine at some point in time I'll do an updated list kind of over the course of my YouTube journey, and we'll have to see what kind of movies rotate through and kind of impact me in different stages in life, and see as we go. But without further ado, here's a few of my favorite things, the movies. First up on the list, I have to say National Treasure. This movie, as a kid, and not kidding, as a grown-up, this movie influenced me in so many ways. I've said it before on the channel, I love a good treasure hunt. Anytime you have, elements of intrigue and puzzle, riddles, there's clues that have been left behind, there's, ancient secret treasure that's being vaulted away and must be found by intrepid heroes, and you include some historical conspiracy theories, I'm all on board for this. This movie is my cup of tea for sure. Even as an adult, I understand that there's some things in it that are a little bit ridiculous, a little bit far-fetched, but that's what I love about this. It is such an engrossing adventure for me. I absolutely love it. Like I said, the number one reason why is because this is a classic treasure hunt. In my mind, there is no more classic treasure hunt than this film. The escapades, the riddles, the clues, the problem solving, the chases, and the intrigue of heists and just the camaraderie, the secrets that have been left in plain sight that no one has seen, but it takes an astute mind to crack the code and track down these secrets that have been left behind by our forefathers. That gets me going. I love that. A classic treasure hunt. I don't think it gets any better than this in my mind. If you can't tell by the way that I'm beaming talking about this movie, it fills me with a childlike sense of wonder. I feel like a kid again. Every time I watch it, I kind of get giddy inside and think, oh, how cool would that be to unlock secrets and treasures that have been stored away, and kind of the intrigue and the mystery and the fortune and the glory that kind of goes along with it. It just fills my imagination. To this day, every time I watch it, I feel like a kid again. And this movie, it affects me in ways that a lot of other movies haven't on the same level just because of how much I connect with the material of this movie. I love it. And if you couldn't guess, it's just a feel-good movie. It's just a movie that I love to watch. And it, no matter what mood I'm in, if I'm scrolling through Netflix or something and I see it's on there, I feel like I have to watch it. It will put a smile on my face. It will leave me with a sense of adventure, and it makes me want to go find my own treasure. Which I may put up a video about that actually, because there have been some treasure escapades that I've had some interest in. I may have to dive into that at some point in time, but for me, certainly on my list, National Treasure. Now, this is actually a movie that I'm a little bit surprised it made it onto my list. The movie Coco by Pixar. This is not a movie that was on my radar at all. Not a movie that I was anticipating. Not a movie that I had any preconceived idea of what it would be. I just kind of saw, oh, it's a Pixar movie. Let's check it out and see if it's any good. And guess what? It's good. I mean, it's Pixar. It's gonna be good. This is bold to say, but this is probably my favorite Pixar movie. This movie is so astounding to me. It is visually stunning, even just from the picture art you can see here, the poster. Just the vibrant colors, the expressions, the patterns. It is such a creative movie, such a colorful movie. It is saturated with life and light and joy, just like any Pixar movie, really. But it is, it's just a spectacular, visually stunning film to see, and it in that way it is so impactful. The visual storytelling going on is incredible. Just the level of detail and passion that you can feel in this film really sets it apart for me. And for anyone who's seen the film, or really any Pixar film, this last point, really not a surprise. This is one of the most emotionally resonant films I have ever seen. This movie, I mean, just thinking about it, a story of family reconciliation. There's, aspects of longing, wanting to belong and kind of feeling ostracized in some ways. There's, elements of creativity and the arts and kind of inspiration to create and, pursue passions. There's, really just heartbreaking and heartwarming moments in this film. That's just a perfectly well-rounded, in my mind, emotionally resonant roller coaster that every time I watch it, I tear up. This film, for me, definitely makes it on the list. And these are the reasons why I'm actually putting it as probably my favorite Pixar movie. At least at the moment. There's a lot of good ones out there. But next up on the list, we have Jojo Rabbit. This is a strange film. I don't exactly know where to put it as far as a listing goes, but this movie is tremendous. I saw it in theaters. I was very excited for the first reason really being Taika Waititi, right? I mean, the guy's a legend. Anything that he does, anything that he touches, I feel is really just gold. Taika's mastery of tone in this film is really incredible. The ways that it goes in between different emotional states, it's hilarious. It's traumatizing. It's ugly. It's beautiful. It's heartwarming, heart-wrenching, and still a resounding victory in the end. There is a real feeling of family over fascism, a boy's journey and his active imagination and what he believes about the world and how that's challenged in sometimes very abrupt ways, but overall so delicious. There is some excellent casting in this film. I mean, just looking at the poster here, you can see some very recognizable faces as well as some that you don't recognize. And there is not a person and not an actor or actress cast in this film who does not shine in their own way. Even characters that you should not love, that you should not feel attached to, there is very much an attachment to them. They each play their roles perfectly played off of each other. Even as young as the boy. I'm sorry, I should have looked up his name. I'm going to put it up here. But he does an incredible job, as well as everybody within this cast. It is a resounding success. And much like the last movie, for me, it is very emotionally complex. I mean, that's like what I was just talking about, is how the mastery of tone within this film is just incredible. The way that it can shift in between these dark moments and then bring moments that bring you to laughter, even within the same scene, jumping back and forth, and yet it doesn't feel jarring really at all. This movie is one of my favorite movies. When it came out, I was excited to see it. I really didn't know what to expect, and any expectations that I did have, it absolutely obliterated. And this quickly became my favorite movie of 2019. Next up, we have The Artist. Another one of the movies I didn't know if I would expect to see it on my list or not, but this movie has really stayed with me for a long time. The acting, the directing, the music, the cinematography, I feel like on every level this is really an astounding film, and very poignant, very enjoyable, very well put together film, and I think that's probably why it's considered an Academy favorite. I mean, this film was nominated for 10 Oscars and won 5, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Leading Performer, Best Costuming, and Best Musical Score. It kind of speaks for itself as far as the level of quality of this film is. It's a great movie. I'm going to move on to the next point, but it's a great movie. This movie for me is pure movie lovers nostalgia. Growing up, one of my favorite movies, and we would watch it all the time as a family, is Singing in the Rain. In many ways, this has a very similar premise, where these silent movie stars are kind of thrust into this new world of the talkies, where audio recording is able to be synced up to videos, and it kind of throws their careers against the wall. Obviously, with Singing in the Rain, it's very much a musical. This movie is very much not. This movie is almost entirely silent as far as any scripting goes. There's kind of title cards like you would expect to see. There's the classic music, but it's very much kind of set within its own genre. So the silent film star that it follows his story as a silent film. And yet, you catch everything as it goes. This movie is truly an acting masterclass. The way that they can non-verbally communicate in this film, the level of emotional depth and emotional connection, the way that the actors act off of each other in a completely silent capacity, is really incredible and definitely deserving of the best leading actor for this film. I mean, this film, like the other films on this list, has definitely left an impression on me. And that is why it is also on my list. Next up, and this should really come as no surprise to anyone who knows me, The Lord of the Rings. I had to put this on the list, right? If I didn't, then I'd be canceled. The Lord of the Rings, to me, is everything that I look for in a movie. This series is a fantasy series, obviously, which to me is huge. I love fantasy largely because of these films. And I think that's true for most people who are into fantasy. These films have at least impacted them in some way, whether they realize it or not. This is some of the best fantasy that we've seen on screen to date. Although we're getting better and better adaptations that are coming out, and even a new Lord of the Rings series, which I'm going to be very interested to see. Definitely talk about that more as it comes along. But this, to me, I love fantasy. I've loved it ever since I was small. I remember running around in the yard playing with my siblings, pretending we were, knights and wizards fighting off dragons. And that hasn't changed much, as we'll talk about in later videos, how important fantasy is to me. But just for the simple fact that this movie is fantasy is big in my book. There's also an incredible journey that Tolkien writes into the series that Jackson then interprets into the film that I think is so rewarding to watch. And I'm not just talking about Frodo and Sam's journey. I'm talking about everybody's journey. Every character within this film has their own journey. Some larger, more prominent than others. But just to see these characters progress, to see them overcome challenges, to see them come outside of themselves and accomplish things that they never dreamed they could. Just to see how each character overcomes and is affected by that outcome, I think is so perfectly written within the books and within the movies, that it is just watching the journey is so rewarding on so many levels, emotionally, cathartically. It stirs up the imagination to see what other stories could be told. And it is truly a testament to the insight of both Peter Jackson and especially J.R.R. Tolkien. And the last thing that I love about this movie series is every little thing. And I mean that. Every little piece of this film, every little part, every department that goes into it brings their A game. It is incredible. The music, the costuming, the direction, the action, the cinematography, the acting, the writing, the special effects are way ahead of their times and still stand up, even like 20 years after they came out. This is what creates a masterpiece in my mind. This is the definition for me, is when every little piece of a production fits so perfectly together to create such a resounding story, a resounding experience, one that I want to go back to every time and again and again. And I have to say, if you're not watching the extended edition, yeah, I'm one of those. Okay, if you're not watching the extended edition, you're missing out. There is so much more context, so much more that you're missing just by watching the theatrical. Go ahead, go pick up a copy or go on HBO Max. They're on there. They're only about 20 minutes or 30 minutes longer than the original cuts, but it's definitely worth a watch. But my absolutely number one favorite movie of all time is, I know you're gonna hate me for this, the next movie I see. Now, okay, granted, that's not gonna be true. Or probably not anyway. The next movie I see could be absolutely awful. It could be a transcendent masterpiece. I don't know before I go and sit in that movie theater or click play on Netflix. But sitting down in the theater, sitting down on a couch, dimming the lights, and just hitting play and letting the story be told in front of you is an experience like no other. I don't care what movie you're watching, there's enjoyment that can be got out of it in some respect, and whether the enjoyment is intentional or not, whether it's sort of in spite of the film that you're enjoying it or because of it, I think anytime I go to the movies, I'm transported. Anytime that I go and watch a movie, no matter what the quality or whatever the content, if it's part of, some larger, grander series, or if it's just a small one-off, I just eat it up. I cannot get enough. And that is what has really, these films and so many others that I could have listed have brought me to a point of appreciating any film or any piece of content really that I see, any television show or anything of that nature. It has just really affected me that I will love the experience if I don't love the movie, if that makes any sense. But that's my list. Thanks for hanging around. I know this has been kind of a long video, but this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I love. I'm going to be doing more videos on movies and, reviews and reactions and movie news and things as we go. But if you have a list of movies that are some of your favorites, go ahead and write them in the comments below. Or better yet, make a video yourself, put it down below, and I will happily watch it and comment on it for you. That's it for me today. Thank you so much. If you don't mind sticking around, liking, subscribing, share any comments or questions or insights. If there's some movies you don't think I've seen that are some of your favorite, let me know. I'd love to check them out. Thanks so much, and we'll see you here next time. Bye.